Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Today we're doing Kesubos Daf Sadi Beis, number 92. The Gemara Sadi Beis and Aleph tells the case of, well, first it starts with a case where Ruvain and Shimon are involved. And Shimon sells a field to Ruvain, Bachrayas, right? He sold it to him Bachrayas. He would guarantee him if someone collected it from Ruvain that he would reimburse Ruvain. But then who came? The Balchav of Reuven, the creditor of Reuven came. So the halacha is Rava says that Shimon doesn't have to pay him back. He wasn't guaranteeing from the creditors of Reuven, right? However, if Reuven inherited a field from Yaakov, it doesn't say it was his father. It said he was Yorish. Let's say it's his father. He was Yorish from his father. So in that case, and then Reuven sold to Shimon Shalo Bachrayas, and Shimon sold back to Reuven Bachrayas. He guaranteed it. If the Balchov, the creditors of Yaakov come, the father, not the creditors of Reuben, the creditors of Yaakov come, that's treated like someone out of the blue, not related to the case. And therefore, and they collect it from Reuven, Shimon has to reimburse Reuven. Now, what's the difference over here? So, as I explained in Nafsadi Aleph, the way Yerusha works is that Yerusha is stronger than Dinei Mamonis. Yerusha is actually, instead of money transferring from the father to the son, it's actually the son replacing the father in the ownership of the property. Brakara da'avu. He's like the in terms of Yerusha, he's like the father's foot almost. The father's still alive through his son. So father didn't earlier die. You're just bimkom. You're mamali makom the father. You're replacing your father in ownership of the assets. Now, there's a basic halakha which is clear from the Gemara in Sadi Beis Amid Aleph that when it comes to a balchov of the father, right? The father borrowed money from someone and he died. So the creditor can get repaid from the Yorshim. However, only by certain property, only from real estate. When it comes to metaltalin, which are movable objects, or the Gemara says a loan, right? A halva, that is considered like metaltalin. He can't get repaid back from the Yorshim. Can't get back from the Yorshim. What's the difference over here? So, as I mentioned before, there's a fundamental difference in karkos and metaltalin. The reason there's a difference is that karkos, land, everyone knows this, land is real estate. That's what it's called, real. It's real. Why is it real? It's real because whenever we speak of value, we speak of two things. We speak of shalo and bershusa. Shalo means I physically own something, and bershusa means I don't physically own that thing, but I own its value. So I'm in control of the value of that thing. So when it comes to karkos appreciate in value most of the time. Real estate generally goes up. It always tends to go up, real estate. So even, much more than in the rise of inflation. It goes up at a much higher rate than inflation. So it's appreciating in value. So that's why it's real estate, because ownership of the karka is a real thing. It's shalo. There's shalo by karka. By metaltalin, there is shalo in certain instances, but when it comes to be yoresh, Yerusha, so right, we mentioned that Yerusha is like I'm replacing the father. So I'm replacing the father. I can only replace the father on things that are physically present, like karkos, real estate. When it comes to metaltalin, maybe that's not the way you're Yorish. Yerusha is different by karkos and by metaltalin. By karkos, I'm a mali makam afiv. I'm the field, like stay achuza, it belongs to the family. It belongs to ancestral land. It belongs to the family. So through my father, I'm the leg of the father, I'm a mali makomo. We're still attached to him. I'm still attached to my father and to that land. When it comes to movable objects, generally movable objects depreciate in value. And therefore, the only thing really important over there is not the object itself, it's the value that it presently has, or that the value that it gives you right now. So that's bershuso, that's not really shalo. Sometimes metaltalin, there is shalo. Sometimes certain metaltalin do go up in value. Expensive watches would go up in value. If you consider cars to be metaltalin, expensive old and rare cars would go up in value. Some types of jewelry actually appreciate in value, diamonds and things like that, and gold. But in the general sense, metaltalin go down in value. So since metaltalin go down in value, really, there's no real ownership over there. You just own a theoretical, virtual reshusa, which is really what it is. It's like a virtual ownership. Same thing with the halva. Halva, when someone owes you money, right? Milvalo, sudden the money is meant to be spent. You don't own the money anymore. He has to return to you. He has chov. He has an obligation to return it to you. That is a virtual chiyuv, right? It shows up in the bank statements, in the loan document, but it doesn't really, there's no real materialistic aspect to it. So therefore, the balcho, the father, can't collect from the Yorshin, because by metaltalin, what passes down to the child is the value. And you can't say that the son is mamali makom, his father. He fills the place of his father that his father didn't really own. I mean, he just owned the value. So when it comes to Yerusha, by karkos, he's a mamali makom avi. By metaltalin, it's really like a transfership of ownership. Like when I sell a watch to you or I sell a pen to you, that's really what it is. So there's really two types of Yerusha. There's Yerusha on karkos, Yerusha metaltalin. So therefore, the Yerusha metaltalin is passed down to somebody else. It's his child, but what right does the Balchov, the creditor of my father, have right to take away property from me? If I'm a Mali Makom Aviv Karkos, I'm the father. He can collect from me. But if it's Metaltlin, which are just transfer the ownership to the children, so what right? That's why Metaltlin, the Asmi, Labalchov Lamishtabdi, then there's no lien on the Metaltlin. So that's really what the Gemara is saying over here, that Yaakov, the Balchov of Yaakov, he comes and collects the land, right? He collects the land. So Shimon has to repay him over here. What are we talking about here? We're talking about achrayis. You saw with a guarantee. A guarantee to replace the land, right, is like sort of like a chov. Right? That's really what it is, right? Ruvain and Shimon, that the agreement they had with them to replace something that's taken from them is like a chov, right? I owe you something if it's taken from you. So I owe something that's taken from you. So therefore, that's like metaltalin. And therefore, once the person takes it, the Balchov of Yaakov could take it away from Reuven because he inherited land. The land you could take. However, the achrayus over here, the guarantee is like a loan, and that loan is like somebody else over here. That loan is something which is, I'm a different person over here. Reuven is a different person than Yaakov, and therefore we view him as a different person, and therefore we assume that achrayus, the guarantee they took on themselves, is only is in effect if the Balchov of Yaakov takes it from his Yorshim. That's the explanation of the Gemara over here. Yeah, he did a pretty good explanation explaining how Yerusha works, the different kakos and metaltalin. And chovos, generally a chov, a guarantee. Anytime you owe someone something, that's like a halva, that's a chov, and that is considered like metaltalin, and therefore it's considered two disparate people, the father, the Yoresh, and the Yorsha. And the person who inherited, he transfers the ownership to the Yorsha as opposed to karkos, where the Yoresh is a mali makom aviv. It's really very fundamental. We'll talk more about this as we go through Shas. See you in the next one.